All right, let's dive right in. Have you ever really thought about what your retirement is going to feel like on a day-to-day basis? We're always told to chase this giant savings number, right? But what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're going to break down a blueprint for something that feels a lot more real, a reliable, honest-to-goodness retirement paycheck. So let me ask you something right off the bat. I'm not going to ask how much will you have saved. Nope. The real question is, what is your retirement paycheck actually going to be every single month? It sounds like a small change in wording, but believe me, it's a huge shift in mindset. See, most of us, we're trained to just stare at that total balance, that big number on the statement. But we really should be focused on the income, the predictable cash flow it can spin off. And this slide just nails the whole point. Take a look. On the left, that's the goal most people are running after, right? A big, impressive-looking savings number. But here's the thing. A statement balance is not a paycheck. An account number isn't the same thing as income. The real goal, what actually matters, is what you see on the right. A reliable, predictable check coming in every month that you can use to pay for real-life stuff. The mortgage, groceries, healthcare, all of it. Okay, so if that's the goal, a steady paycheck, how in the world do we build one? Well, the first step is kind of like in any battle. You've got to know what you're up against. So let's break down the 6 major risks that can get in the way, the things that stand between all that money you've worked so hard to save and the income you're actually going to live on. Risk number 1, and it's a big one, market volatility. Look, we all know the market is a roller coaster. It goes up, it goes down. But imagine taking a huge dip on that roller coaster right when you're about to get off, or right after you've gotten off. A major downturn right before or during retirement can be absolutely devastating. There's a technical name for this, sequence of returns risk, which basically means if you start pulling money out while your portfolio is tanking, you can drain your savings way faster than you ever planned. All right, risk number 2 is the silent killer of retirement plans, rising inflation. Think about it. A paycheck that feels great today, say $4,000 or $5,000 a month. What's that going to buy you in 10, 20, or even 30 years? Over a long retirement, its buying power can just get eaten away, bit by bit. Your money just won't stretch as far, and that's a huge problem. Next up, let's talk about our favorite topic, taxes. So a lot of us have money in tax-deferred accounts, like 401ks and IRAs. And that's great for today, we get a break, but tax-deferred just means tax postponed. It means we have to pay the tax man later. And here's the risk. What if tax rates are way higher in the future? That means the government could take an even bigger bite out of your income right when you're counting on it the most. Okay, this next one it's a tough one to talk about, but it's so important. And that's the risk of dying too soon. I know, nobody wants to think about it, but what if the person bringing in the primary income passes away way earlier than expected? That whole retirement paycheck plan, it could just vanish. And that can leave a family in a really tough spot. Protection is just everything here. And in a similar vein, you have the risk of getting seriously ill. A major illness can bring on these huge, unexpected expenses. I'm talking about things like long-term care, which often isn't covered by your regular health insurance. These kinds of costs can completely blow up even the best-laid retirement plans. It's a massive financial curveball. And last but not least, we have what sounds like a good problem, but it's a serious risk: living too long. Seriously, it's fantastic that we're all living longer, healthier lives. But that also means our money has to last longer. Making sure your income stream doesn't run dry before you do, well, that's honestly one of the single biggest challenges in modern retirement planning. So let's recap real quick. You've got market volatility, inflation, and taxes, and then the big 3 life risks: dying too soon, getting sick, and living too long. Think of these as the 6 major stress tests. Any retirement plan that's worth its salt, any real blueprint, has to be built to withstand all of them. All right, so we've talked about the problems, the risks. Now let's shift gears and talk about the solution. A really strong, durable retirement paycheck isn't built on just one thing. It's built on a solid foundation. And we can think of that foundation as having 4 key pillars. Okay, pillar number 1 is Social Security. For most of us, that's the baseline. Pillar 2 is a pension, and hey, if you've got one of those, you're one of the lucky ones these days. Now, pillar 3, this is the one everybody knows and talks about: your 401k, your IRA, all your personal savings. But then there's a 4th pillar, and this is the one that a lot of people have never even heard of, or at least haven't had it explained this way. It's an indexed safe money strategy, and it's designed to kind of tie everything together and make the whole structure stronger. And this brings us right back to that core idea we started with, and it's so important I'm going to say it again. The goal is not just to have a giant balance in pillar number 3. The goal is to turn those assets into reliable, efficient income that lasts for the rest of your life. So that brings up a really important question. Is pillar number 3, all by itself, really enough to get the job done? I mean, is it truly built to defend against all 6 of those big risks we just laid out? Let's dig into that a little bit. Okay, what I love about this is that it's super balanced. It shows both sides of the coin. Look, Pillar 3 accounts, they're awesome. I mean, the tax deferral is great, the employer match is literally free money, and it forces us to be disciplined savers, no question. But they've got some potential gaps, right? When you take the money out, it's generally taxable. You're directly exposed to that market roller coaster we talked about, and they usually don't have any built-in features to protect you if you get sick or to protect your family. So that brings us to this idea of an indexed growth engine. Let's break down how this 4th pillar actually works. So this is exactly where pillar number 4 comes into play, because it's specifically designed to help fill those gaps. So what is an indexed strategy? In the simplest terms, its growth is linked to a market index, like the S&P 500. So when the market goes up, you get to participate in that growth. But, and this is the absolute key, it's built with a safety feature. It's designed to protect you from losing money when the market goes down. So how on earth does that work? This chart explains it better than I ever could. Check it out. In a year the market does well, boom, you get credited with interest. Great. But now look at that 3rd year, the down market. A typical market-based account, it takes a loss. Your balance actually goes down. With the index strategy, by design, you get a 0. You don't lose a penny of your principal due to the market downturn. It's this awesome concept where 0 is your hero. You'd much rather get a 0 than a negative 10 or 20%, right? So when you look at the benefits, you can see how they're designed to line up directly against those risks we talked about. You get protection from market loss, check. You get to lock in your gains so you don't give them back, check. You have the potential for tax-advantaged income, check. And when they're set up right, these strategies often include that family protection with a death benefit and even living benefits if you get sick. It's all built around one thing, creating that reliable stream of income. So when you put all of these pieces together, it's a completely different way of thinking. You stop just trying to pile up a big stack of cash, and you start strategically building a machine that's designed specifically to generate income for you. You're moving from just saving to actually creating a real blueprint. Because at the end of the day, the ultimate goal isn't just about the size of your savings account. It's about how efficient your plan is. It's about how much of that money you've saved can actually be turned into a tax-smart, protected paycheck that lasts for the rest of your life and can even take care of your family. So who is a strategy like this really for? Well, it's for anyone who's worked hard and wants to protect what they've built. It's for families who are genuinely concerned about where taxes are going and about all this market volatility. It's really for people who are looking for that sweet spot. You still want your money to grow, but you want to do it with less risk and with more protection built right into the plan. So if any of this is resonating with you, if you're kind of nodding along and thinking, yeah, that makes sense, and you're curious about how all these ideas could actually apply to your specific situation, well, the next logical step is to see what your own personal blueprint might look like. You can actually book a completely free, no-obligation Safe Money retirement review to just talk about this stuff. It's a chance to get a preview of what your future paycheck could be, chat about making your plan more tax-efficient, and just see if adding a Pillar 4 strategy makes any sense at all for you. All the info you need is right there on the screen. So I guess the only question left is, are you ready to see what your blueprint could look like?